Expanding into kidswear seems like an obvious win. Less fabric per unit means lower material costs, which should equal higher margins, right? However, fabric volume is only one part of the production equation. Manufacturing for children introduces a set of specialized safety requirements that frequently override standard volume efficiencies. To see why costs diverge, we must compare the standard adult model against manufacturing for kids. In adult fast fashion, success relies on speed to market and fabric yield efficiency. You design, cut, sew, and ship as fast as possible. With children's clothing, that timeline stretches out. Production speeds slow down to accommodate precision assembly, and upfront costs rise to cover mandatory testing and specialized materials. Moving into this space means leaving your fast fashion supply chain behind. It requires treating kidswear as a distinct category, with a strict compliance-first mindset. The reason for this friction is simple biology. Children are highly vulnerable to physical and environmental risks that adults brush off. Because of this vulnerability, global regulators intensely monitor three specific hazards: choking risks, skin sensitivities, and chemical exposure. A single loose button or traces of a banned dye will trigger massive legal liabilities. We are talking about mandatory product recalls and entire shipments seized at the border. The risk is so high that reputable sourcing factories won't even accept your order if your tech pack ignores these safety requirements. If you force standard adult manufacturing processes onto kidswear, you will guarantee customs roadblocks and catastrophic legal exposure. This scorecard shows the exact framework professional brand managers use to assess whether a kidswear line makes sense for their business. Starting with trims, the required inputs here are secure button attachments, soft rounded accessories, and absolutely zero small detachable parts. The direct outcome is a garment that entirely eliminates choking hazards and sharp edge risks. The trade-off is that you lose access to cheap generic components. Sourcing these certified trims directly increases your raw material costs and narrows your design options. Next is the design itself. You must remove long drawstrings, eliminate metal parts on babywear, and scrap complex decorations. That means your initial sketches will require significant adjustments. You have to compromise on your aesthetic vision before a factory will sign off on your tech pack. In kidswear, aesthetics always take a back seat to physical safety. If they don't, the garment cannot be manufactured. Physical trims are only half the equation. The invisible risks embedded in the fabric itself require even stricter control. Fabric destined for a child's skin must use AZO-free dyes, maintain exceptionally low formaldehyde levels, and avoid harmful finishing agents to clear EU and US customs. This chemical standard drastically filters down the list of factories you can actually work with. You are restricted to a small pool of premium, certified fabric mills, which automatically drives your base costs higher. You cannot take a supplier's word for it. You must demand official lab test certificates and rigorous fabric safety reports. A reliable global sourcing agent will refuse to move your order into production until that exact paperwork is verified. A factory's verbal promise has zero value here. Certified third-party lab documentation is the only valid currency. All of these physical and chemical requirements culminate in the pre-production sample, or PPS. This approval stage is the ultimate bottleneck in kidswear sourcing. During this phase, factories inspect every trim, check stitch strength, and test wearability. It's a methodical process that destroys rapid turnaround expectations. This Gantt chart shows the impact on your calendar. A standard adult apparel run might take 30 days. Kidswear requires 60 days or more, specifically because of an extra 3 to 4 weeks dedicated entirely to testing and approvals. Your sourcing strategy has to absorb these delays. You need a heavily padded schedule and a larger budget allocation long before the first piece of fabric is cut. These extra weeks and higher costs are the mandatory price for a compliant supply chain. They function as an insurance policy against customs seizures and legal exposure. This flowchart maps the decision to move forward with kidswear, based on budget flexibility and timeline buffer. For established brands willing to pay a premium for reputable manufacturing partners, this is a clear green light. But if your business relies on drop shipping, chasing micro-trends on razor-thin margins, or strict 30-day turnarounds, this category presents a fatal risk. Kidswear is a highly profitable global market. But you can only capture that profit if your supply chain infrastructure is mature enough to survive the compliance stress test.